And I'd like to say it is 4:30 and welcome to the CICE Information Night virtually. This is our first time that we are doing a virtual information night. We're very excited to have everyone join us during this time, which, unfortunately we cannot be together in person, but I'm glad that we are able to be together virtually and we're still able to share about our great CICE program. My name is Rosanna Toe. I'm the program coordinator for the CICE program. Throughout the night, you'll get a chance to meet some of the other CICE staff. Some of them will be presenting and I'll have them introduce themselves before they present. We are also going to have an opportunity for a breakout rooms so that people can ask questions, and we'll have our CICE facilitators in those breakout rooms. So you'll get a chance to meet them as well. So we'd like to welcome everyone tonight. We have about 65 attendees for our information night right now, and we could be getting more. I just want to go over a few things to help us run smoothly this evening. As I mentioned, this is our first time having a virtual information night, so bear with us. I think we've worked out most of the kinks, but in case we haven't, please be patient with us. We are recording this presentation. That way, if you do need to review anything, you can look at that again, and also will be able to, anybody who has missed the presentation and wasn't able to come tonight will be able to share that information as well. As you can see, we have 2 ASL interpreters with us as well. So we do ask that everyone, unless you're CICE staff, to have your cameras off and to have your speakers on mute. This way, it is easy for anyone who does need an interpreter that they can find them. We're also going to present, and we're going to ask if people could keep their questions towards the end of the presentation. We'll ask you, if you do have questions, you can post them in the chat, and we'll try to address some of the general questions at the end of the presentation in the chat. But you'll also have an opportunity in the breakout rooms as well to ask questions. If you do need to ask a question with a mic, we ask that you type your name in the chat box, and then we can call you to unmute and you can ask your questions. We're hoping that that will help us kind of manage the number of people that we have joining us tonight. So the general format for tonight is the first half an hour to 40 minutes. We're going to present about the CICE program. You'll hear from myself, from Jennifer Chatzik, who is another faculty in the CICE program, and from 2 of our facilitators, Kristen and Monica. After the presentation, we'll do about 5 minutes of questions and answers, just general questions and answers. And then we're going to have breakout rooms so that people can go into smaller groups, and they'll be with our CICE facilitators and staff and be able to ask questions there. It'll probably be easier to ask questions in a smaller group. So we're going to have some breakout rooms at this point. So once again, just a reminder to have your cameras off and to have your speakers on mute, and we can get started. I'd like to introduce to you our Associate Dean, Lisa Salem-Wiseman, and she's going to do a small welcome.
Thank you, Rosanna. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, prospective future students, families. I think this is a great turnout, and it's a great program. So I know there are other CICE programs in the Greater Toronto area. We're the first, we're the best. So you've made a really, really good choice to come and check us out virtually, to potentially apply. And I hope to welcome you as future students someday. And I also hope that that is face-to-face again and not in this virtual world. So just a couple things about the program. Humber College is the largest college in Ontario. So by coming to Humber, you're really getting a true, authentic college experience. You're mixing with all of the students. You're taking electives with students from other programs. We have excellent faculty, program coordinator, staff, and really the CICE program is my favorite program of the programs I oversee. I love to get to know the students. I love to, when we're on campus, have them drop into my office and let me know how they're doing. So it really is a very warm, supportive environment in which you can challenge yourselves and grow. So I'm really, really excited to someday, maybe, you know, in the fall, maybe the following year, see you in our classrooms and in the halls. So welcome everybody, and you've made a great choice by looking at Humber.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to bring out the presentation. So give me 1 second. And there it is. All right. So let's learn a little bit about the CICE program. So it is a program at Humber College, and it is for students with an intellectual or also known as a developmental disability. So our program is geared specifically for students in this student population. The students who would be appropriate for our program and who are usually interested in applying for our program are graduating from high school with their certificate of achievement or certificate of accomplishments, or their Ontario Secondary School Certificate, so their OSSC. Students are usually not graduating with their OSSD, so their diploma, their Ontario Secondary School Diploma. Students in our CICE program, just to give you an idea, are usually academically at about a grade 1 to grade 3 level. And the purpose of our program is to give them a college experience. Students who are usually graduating with their OSSC or their Certificate of Achievement usually don't have an opportunity to pursue or to look at other education after high school. So the CICE program at Humber gives them this opportunity. The CICE program provides a college experience. So just so you know that we're not a vocational training program. In other words, our focus isn't just on employment, but actually on the whole person and on the whole experience. We know that it's important when you go to college that it's not just about the learning, but the whole experience, being part of a college, being a college student, experiencing all part of the what it's like to be at post-secondary. And that's what the CICE program does. It's able to provide all of that. So you may ask yourself, well, as you heard from Lisa, there are other CICE programs at other colleges. So why do you want to study at Humber and why come to the CICE program here? Well, we were the first college in all of Ontario to offer the CICE program. We have over 30 years of experience in offering the CICE program. As I mentioned, we focus on the college experience. So not only are we looking at employment, as we know that many of our students are interested in that, but we're also looking at how to get involved in the college. How do I become more independent? How do I self-advocate for myself? And all of that becomes part of your learning here at Humber. As well, we have more inclusive opportunities and continued support here. Our CIC students are Humber College students. They are able to use all of the different services and access that we have here at Humber. We have a fantastic athletics center. And even though we're online, they are continuing to offer wonderful physical activity exercises that you can do through Instagram and follow them. We have a counseling center. Again, if you're in person, you can go in person. We also have it online as well. So there's so many different opportunities here at Humber that our students can get involved in. I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer now, who's going to speak a little bit more about the program itself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Chatzik. I teach some of the CICE classes. So there are 4 parts to the CICE program. CICE classes, which I'll speak more about in a minute, elective classes, and field placement, both of which Monica, one of our amazing CICE facilitators, will speak about in a few minutes. And lastly, college life. So college life includes having access to and participating in all aspects of the campus community. CIC students, like all Humber students, are encouraged to access college resources, participate in events, and get involved in campus life. We want our students to get the most out of their college experience, and a college experience should involve lots of fun social activities as well as academics. We try to build this into the CICE program through things like the CICE Student Council, which regularly plans fun social events, and by having students be aware of Humber events that are available to all students.
Jennifer, you put yourself on mute.
Thank you. I'm just trying to go to the next.
You've done it again.
Every time I try to go to the next slide, I mute myself. So perhaps Rosanna, thank you. So the CICE courses are all the classes that the CICE students participate in. These courses you can see on the screen are typically taught by either Rosanna or myself. You can see the name of all of the courses that the students participate in each semester. The focus of many of the first year courses are familiarizing students with Humber and developing skills that the students will need to be successful at college. The second year courses build on those skills developed in first year and encourage students to start thinking about life after college and planning for the goals that they want to achieve. I'm going to pass it along now to Monica, who's going to speak a little bit about electives and field placement.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Sorry, there was a little bit of a glitch there. My name is Monica. I'm one of the facilitators with the CICE program, and I'm going to speak to the elective component of our program. Each semester, our students get the opportunity to participate in an elective class in an area of their own interest. So for example, we have had students participate in various classes. Sorry, my apologies. I thought my camera was on. Our students have participated in various areas around the college, including culinary, cosmetics, fitness and health promotion. And again, it's a program that the student is interested in. So it gives them the opportunity to explore some areas outside of the CICE core classes. And again, they have the option to pick the area. sorry, it keeps freezing. My apologies. Students are supported by the facilitator in their elective class, and we do modify the curriculum to meet the students' academic needs in each of their elective classes. They are not joined with other CICE students in these elective class, but rather participating with students from various programs, various areas in the college. So they will participate with each of the students in each of these programs. We have built very positive relationships with the different faculties around the college, and they have all been very supportive with our students and very supportive of our program. And I'll speak a little bit to field placement now. Our students have the opportunity to participate in placement during their second semester, as well as their third and fourth semester. Normally, our students would have the opportunity to participate in a placement on campus or out in the community, depending on their first year or their second year. But of course, seeing as how things have been going on in our community with the COVID, we've had to make a couple of adjustments, and our team has come up with very creative ways to still have our students participate in field placement components. We have presented our material virtually this semester, and our students are learning a lot about health and safety, learning about professionalism at the workplace, and help them prepare for work opportunities after college. And normally when the students do participate with a field placement, we really try to build a very positive network with supervisors and with managers at various locations and various agencies. And our hope is to get them to build a positive relationship and demonstrate positive qualities and positive work ethic on these placements in hopes for future career opportunities or just a good experience or exposure to the work environment. And the students do have support from a facilitator at their placement. And from there, we kind of gauge if we feel like a student is independent or ready to go forward with their placement independently. We really encourage it, as it does build that independence level, and they can really push to build those skills independently.
You will have Kristen now speak about the next few slides.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen. I'm one of the facilitators here in the CICE program. We're really happy to have you, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the support that's available to you guys as CICE students here at Humber. So each student, when they join the CICE program, they have a facilitator that they are paired with. And that means that they get about 5 hours of academic support per week. And that looks like support in the classroom and outside of the classroom. There we go, there's my slide. So as I said, we have support for students in the classroom and out of the classroom. So in the classroom, we provide opportunities for academic participation. We provide assignment modifications, test modifications, and that sort of thing within the class environment. Outside of the classroom, we also provide support to students in the form of advisory meetings and tutorial times. So an advisory meeting helps students with learning to organize and really helps with their independence. We also provide support to students in the form of tutorial, which means that students will bring class material, tests, and that sort of thing to us, and we work with them one-on-one to help them meet their needs and really work through the work that they are looking to complete. Outside of that, there are also Humber services that are outside of facilitator services. Just over here, you can see that there are a lot of college services available to students. So these services are available both virtually online and at the college. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to the college soon. But as you can see here on the slide, we have health services, counseling services. We have an amazing fitness center, as Rosanna was kind of mentioning earlier. And these are all services that are available to students, like I said, online and at the college. As well as the Aboriginal Resource Center, which is a very cool opportunity for students who have come from an Indigenous background to ensure that they're supported in their transition to college here at Humber. I'm going to pass it back over to Jennifer. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kristen. So all colleges and universities are governed by FIPPA. And FIPPA is the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This is the provincial law that outlines the rules about safeguarding people's private information. This means that as adults, all CICE students are the people that we communicate with, rather than communicating with family or support people. So in fact, we cannot communicate with family or support people without the student's permission. Even with the student's permission, ideally all communication between the CICE program and families would include the student. We know that this might be a big adjustment for a lot of families who may be used to being able to talk with their son or daughter's teacher. We find that while this might be a difficult adjustment initially, it really does help support the students' independence and ownership over their own learning. We encourage families and support people to ask their son or daughter about school and try to stay involved and connected that way. In the rare circumstance when a student is encountering difficulties and we think family support may be really beneficial, we'll ask the student if we can connect with their family. By and large, most CICE students complete their 2 years in the college with very little communication between the program and their families. I'm going to pass the presentation over to Rosanna, who'll speak about the admission process, which I'm sure everyone's really eager to hear about.
Thanks, Jen. All right, so sounds pretty good so far. So now I'm going to tell you how you can apply to our amazing program. So our criteria for our program is you must be 19 years or older on the first day of class. So the first day of class is usually the day after Labor Day. The 19 years or older is a ministry guideline for us. Oftentimes, many of our applicants are able to stay until they're 21. So the 19 years or older isn't too much of a big deal for them. You must have a documented intellectual disability. So we are looking, when you apply, we are looking for proof of documentation on that. And I'll explain that a little bit more later on. So usually as I mentioned earlier, the students who would be appropriate for our program are graduating with their Certificate of Achievement or their Ontario Secondary School Certificate. So those are our two main criteria. Some of the additional requirements that we're looking at are things such as communication skills, social skills, academic support, motivation, and area of interest. Let me chat a little bit about each of those areas. So the communication skills. As you are coming to college, what we want are students who are able to ask questions, able to speak up for themselves for certain things. Do they have to be well-spoken? Do they have to have great communication skills? What we're looking for is someone who's able to advocate and advocate for themselves and ask questions. They can use an assistive device if that's something that they need. They can, if they need an interpreter, that's absolutely fine as well. What we're looking for is that opportunity for communication with not only CICE staff, but also with the Humber community as well. For social skills, We're looking for students who are able to adapt and follow our Humber code of conduct. So as all schools have a code of conduct, it's important that our CIC students follow that code as well. So it is important that our students are able to manage their social skills. We're unable to manage students who have aggressive behavior because we are also looking for the safety of our college community students as well. So social skills also becomes an important area that we're looking at. Academic support. Kristen mentioned a bit about this already, but we are able to provide 5 hours of academic support a week. So we are looking for students with somewhat of a level of independence. Does the student have to have great academic skills, writing, reading, spelling? Absolutely not. We know that we're able to adapt and modify all of those academic support so that we can support them. But we do need a level of independence for each of the students. So we are looking at how much academic support the student needs. We're just unable to provide continued one-to-one support the entire week for the student. Motivation. For me, this is probably the most key requirement for the students that we are looking at for our program. Everyone knows that when you come to school, you're going to get homework. You're going to have assignments. You're going to have early classes that could start as early as 8 o'clock or perhaps to go as late as 6. You might have to learn how to use an online platform such as Blackboard, which is what we use here. So we want students who are interested in learning that, who are willing to try new things, who want to come to college. So motivation becomes really, really important as part of our requirement. The other area is the area of interest. What are you interested in learning about? Fortunately, at Humber, there's so many different choices that you can learn about, but we want to make sure it does match what you're interested in. So for example, if you're only interested in learning about animals and horses and that's it, and you're not interested in anything else, unfortunately, we may not have that here at Humber. But we have so many other things as well. So if you tell us, yeah, I really want to learn about horses, but you know what, that's okay. I think I might want to also learn about how to work with makeup. And I also want to learn how to work on the computer. So if you have many different choices that you're interested in learning about, absolutely, we could be the program for you. But we are interested in learning about what you are wanting to learn about when you come to Humber. Some of the other things that's important to note in regards to applying for the CICE program is transportation. Like any other academic program here at Humber, we do not have a special school bus for our students. So you must provide your own transportation. We have students who take the transit, and where we are located, we're really fortunate. We have TTC, we have the Mississauga Transit, we have Brampton Transit, we have York Region Transit, we have GO. So we have so many different transit systems that come and have a stop right at Humber College. So many of our students learn to take transit and then come and go to the college on their own. We have some students who decide to use a hired transit service that goes to their home and picks them up and drops them off specifically at the college. That's absolutely fine as well. The only thing to note with that is that we are unable to do a sign off in terms of signing that the student has arrived to the college and waiting with the student for them to be picked up. It must be independent in that way. And as I mentioned, there is a level of independence that's required for the student. We don't provide one-to-one support the entire time the student is here at the college. That defeats what we want from the student. We want the student to go to the college and do what they want to do. They don't want to have someone with them the entire time. So it does mean that we encourage our students to be able to keep an eye on the time and know when they have to meet their facilitator for class, or know where they have to go if they have a question about something. Obviously, we will help them learn their way around the college at the beginning of the semester for the first few weeks, but there is that level of independence that is required for them. Okay, so how do you apply? Now that you know what the criteria is, how do you apply? Well, we're really excited to share with you that we have started an CIC admission portal. We have gone online. If you have been with us before, if you've applied to our program before, you know that we had an actual paper application. Well, no longer. We are now online and works really well as we are all working remotely this semester. So the first step will be to go to that CIC admission portal. I'll share with you where that is in a sec. You need to complete the application by February 1st. So that date has not changed if you have applied to our program before. We're going to ask you to upload the documentation that you need for your admission up to the portal. And we're also going to ask you to send us your references. That way we are able to send out the reference forms to your references. And again, that's all online. Once we receive your application and review the documentation and you meet our main criteria, we are going to invite you to an interview. And as we are working remotely, it will be a virtual interview. I'm going to explain a little bit about that one as well in a bit. One of the other paperwork that you will have to do for the interview is our questionnaire. And we're going to ask you to complete that questionnaire and upload it into the portal before your interview, because that will be part of your interview. So let's show you a little bit about the portal. So I know it's pretty long here, but that is the website to our CICE portal. If you want to Google CICE Humber, it will take you to our Humber CICE webpage, and it has the information about the CICE program. On the left-hand side, you will see a little gray box, this one, that says how to apply. You can click on that and it will take you to our admission portal. So very easily going to our CICE Humber website. And then once there, if you look at the gray box, you'll see how to apply and you can click there. Once you've clicked in, what you will notice is the application form is actually right online and you complete it right online. There's no paper that needs to be submitted. There's no paper that you have to print out and then scan and then get it back to us. It's all completed right online. So this is just a quick snapshot of it, but you can see it asks for your name, and your birth date. And then there are the little links to upload your documentation. So we're asking for things like your resume, IEP report, so that would have been from school that you have, or your psycho-ed report. The IEP report and your psycho-ed report are great documentation for your proof of intellectual disability, because we do need that to confirm that you have an intellectual disability. So those two reports are fantastic. If you're able to upload both of them, that way we can review it, and that will help us to review your information, and then we can send out an interview invite if you meet our two main criteria. The resume is also another part of our documentation. When you get into the program, we often use your resume. So this is a great way to get it uploaded, and it also shares about some of the things that you've been doing as well. All right, so what happens after that? You've completed the application form, you've submitted your documentation. What happens next? Well, we will review it on our end. And as I mentioned, if you meet our two main criteria, 19 years or older on the first day of class, and have a documented intellectual disability, you will then be invited for our virtual interview. You will also receive a questionnaire. The questionnaire link will be emailed out to you. And again, it's completed and you can upload it onto the portal. We ask that you complete this before your interview because, again, it helps us when you are in your interview. The questionnaire is asking questions such as, what kind of supports did you have when you were at school? What kind of things do you like to do during your spare time? What are you interested in learning about when you come to Humber? So really general questions, but it helps us to get a better understanding of who you are. The other thing we need are references. So 2 references. We're going to ask you to email those names to us, your references and their emails. From there, we will send out a link to your references to complete a reference form. So again, everything is online. There's no paper to be done. You don't need to worry about printing anything off and sharing it with your references. We can do it all online. And the last part is the interview. As I mentioned, you will be invited for our virtual interview if you meet our 2 main criteria. This year, what we are doing is we are having 2 parts to our virtual interview. We're going to have a group interview and an individual interview. The group interview, you will be with other applicants who are interested in our CICE program, as well as the CICE staff. This is a good time for you to get to know some of the other applicants and also to be able to interact with others. And we'll ask some general questions to everyone. After that, you will then be meeting with 2 CICE staff in a breakout room for an individual interview. And this is where we'll ask more questions to you, but more specifically questions that you would be able to answer. In total, we're thinking the interview will be about 45 minutes in length, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes for the group interview, and about 20-25 minutes for the individual interview with the CICE staff. Just so you know, you are being interviewed by our CICE staff. This staff are the staff you will, if you get accepted into the program, these are the staff who you will be working with when you come and join our program. Our staff have years and years and years of experience in working with various students from our CICE program. So I know for some students, this will be their very first time doing an interview, and it can be very nerve-wracking. Just so you know, our CICE staff are great and they can make you feel comfortable. And I'll be honest with you, most of the students that I have been in interviews with, even if it was their first time, have done an amazing job for their very first interview. So no need to worry about that. All right, so here's some tips for you in regards to the admission process. As I mentioned, we are looking for 2 references. We are looking for professional or work-related references. In other words, we don't want family members or family friends. I am sure that Aunt Sue would love to be a reference for you, but unfortunately, they are not an academic reference. So we are looking for people such as your teachers, your support people in class. Perhaps you have a caseworker that you work with outside. If you have a field placement or a co-op, perhaps a supervisor there could be a reference for you. We're hoping that this reference will know you for at least 6 months. And we also would definitely like one of them to be an academic reference. So someone who is able to speak about the support that you might need, your strengths that you have while you're at school. The other tip we would like to remind you about is to upload your questionnaire before your interview. One part of the questionnaire will talk about the different areas that you might be interested in learning about when you come to Humber. And we want to talk to you about that in your interview. So having your questionnaire uploaded before your interview so that we can take a look at it really helps us. So we do ask for your questionnaire before that. And we're going to encourage you to participate on your own. Support people, I know this can be really tough, especially if it is their very first time having an interview. But we encourage them to participate in this interview on their own. Make sure that your the attendee, the interviewee has a quiet place that they can do their interview. that they can chat and feel comfortable. As I mentioned, we have a fantastic staff, so they are able to help our students be able to answer those questions. I know it's really difficult not to be there, but we really encourage that, because when they come to college, you're not going to be there. They're going to be there on their own anyway. So what a great opportunity for them to do that. Okay. So what happens afterwards? After we have interviewed all of our applicants, we then have what we call our selection panel. And this is made up of different people from the college who have had a CICE student. So different faculty who have had a CICE student. We have associate deans, so administrators who oversee programs who've had a CICE student. We also have people from different areas, such as our health center or our Office of Student Conduct area, who also participate. They get an opportunity to hear about all of the applicants who have applied to our program, and from there we select our applicants. We have 3 levels, offer levels. We have our acceptance, our waitlist, and our decline. For the fall 2021, we are looking to accept 40 applicants for our program. We usually will have a wait list. It can vary between 5 to 7 people on the wait list, and then unfortunately, the rest will be offered a decline. We will be making the decision on March the 31st of next year. All right, so the other thing that I know usually people have a question about is, how much is it going to cost? So the number that you see here, $3,740.64, is for a full year. That's this year's tuition. The CICE program is a program at Humber, so the tuition is the same tuition as any other academic program. This is again for the full year, so from September until the end of April. And then when students come back for year 2, they will also pay another set of tuition fees. But on the good news, we do have financial assistance as well. We do have the Humber Institutional Bursary, which does help to cover tuition fees. Usually we'll talk a little bit more about it once students have been accepted. But one of the things I do want you to note is that there is a limited amount. We are unable to offer it to every single, which we would love to, but we are unable to offer it to every single CICE student. So we encourage you to look at other options when you are looking for your tuition. You could look at passport funding. You might have an RESP saved up. Some of you may be lucky that you have that money that you're able to use for your tuition. But for those who may need a bit of that assistance, just to let you know, we do have our Humber Institutional Bursary. It is not the same as OSAP. OSAP, you do have to pay back. The Humber Institutional Bursary, you will not. But also, in case you are if you are looking at passport funding, you may want to share with your passport person that the CICE program does not qualify for OSAP either. All right, so I just want to review some of the important dates that we have. The application deadline is February 1st. So you can go onto our admission portal and submit your application there, but we will be closing it on February the 1st. This is for our fall 2021 intake. Then we'll be having virtual interviews, and we'll be starting to invite people starting in November, and we do interviews until about February. We do interview every single applicant who meets our 2 main criteria, 19 years or older and have a documented intellectual disability. After that, the next important date will be your acceptance, which is March the 31st. And we have a tradition here at Humber. We like to call our acceptances. So on March the 31st, we will call all the accepted students because we are so excited to share that news with them. So you will get a phone call as well as an email about your acceptance. So that would be the date that you would find out. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to take a quick peek at the time here. We have about 5 minutes that I can take some general questions from the chat. But then after that, we are going to go into breakout rooms where you can then ask more questions to our facilitators. So let's start with that. I'm going to stop sharing and see if we have any questions in the chat that I should be answering. All right. I see the last question. What is the grade level do students need to have to be able to attend? So for the CICE program, as I mentioned, because our students are graduating with their certificate of achievement or their certificate of accomplishment, most of the, generally the academic level is about grade 1 to grade 3. Our students usually fall under the moderate developmental disability range. Let's see if there's any other questions here. I see, is the psychoeducational evaluation mandatory for the application process? If that's what the applicant would like to use as their proof of an intellectual disability, absolutely. It's also a great resource, I think, in terms of sharing a bit more about the student. So though it's not mandatory, because not all students have one, it is very, very helpful in terms of the application process. Okay, I'm going to address the, given COVID, will the courses be online exclusively? For our academic year this year, so for fall 2020 till April 2021, we are online. We are working remotely, and the CICE program is working remotely. What we are hoping for the fall, and I have my fingers crossed, is that we will be back on campus at this time for our fall 2021. So we're not sure. We're very hopeful, but I think what Humber's priority is always the health and safety of students and of staff. So keeping, I think keeping an eye on the community, what's happening, we'll have more information later on. But I have to say our online program has worked really well. I think our students have done an amazing job working online. But we are hopeful that we will be back on campus in the fall. Let's see, let me see if I can answer one more question. Is this the only program that the college has for MID students? That question would be best to ask to our registrar's area. Because the CICE program, the way the college is set up, each program is familiar with their own program. At this point, I don't believe there is any other academic programs that fall under the government for MID students, but there could be other programs that Humber offers that you would have to pay. So it's not a government funded program that could be for MID students, but I'm not 100% sure of them. Okay, and let me answer one more question, and then we are going to move into the breakout room. Can we attend more than one course? I assume that you're speaking about the elective course. It says because each semester you would be taking an elective course from one of the various programs that Humber has to offer. That is actually up to the student. We have some students who decide to stick with one program the entire time they're with CICE. So they take the CICE classes and they choose to take ECE, Early Childhood Education, and they take one course from that program every semester. we have other students who want to try a variety of different things and will take different elective courses each semester. So one semester they could start off and do police foundation, and then the next semester they said, you know what, I want to try something new and I'm going to try something from funeral services. And then in my third semester, I'm going to try something even more different and I want to try something in computers. So it is really up to the students what they want to do, what they want to learn about. All right. I see that there's still a lot of other questions here, which is absolutely fine. We will make sure that we have those questions and we'll try to make sure that we're able to answer them, but we are going to break you out into breakout rooms so that you can still ask these questions and also ask other questions that you might have to our CICE facilitators. So I'm going to ask our people behind the screen if they are ready to do breakout rooms.
Hi, Rosanna. Hi, everyone. We are ready to start our breakout rooms. You will automatically be sent into a breakout room very shortly.
Okay. Before we go into the breakout room, just wanted to let you know that once you are done in your breakout room, we are not going to do anything back in the main room. So you are more than welcome to leave after the breakout room. And also, if you don't have any other questions and you feel that everything has been answered for you, you do not need to go to a breakout room. You can leave, and we thank you for joining us today. Also, if you do have any other questions that do come up and the time in the breakout room you weren't able to ask, you can absolutely email us at cice@humber.ca for any other questions as well.